Brethren, I pray you sing a new song. Sing praise in the assembly of the righteous. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let the high praise of God be on the mouths of the saints and a two-edged sword in their hands to execute vengeance on the demonic nations and punishments on those peoples, to bind their kings with chains. Dishonor have all his saints. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Sing to him a new song.
We are the sons of Jacob, and we are here trying to teach our people, the so-called blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics, to wake up and return back to your nationality. Somebody give me Matthew 24 and 14. Somebody give me Revelation 11, 14.
I got 24 and 14.
Read that.
This is Matthew chapter 24, verse 14. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world.
So this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached into all the world. Continue.
For a witness unto all nations. And then shall the end come.
And then what?
And then shall the end come.
And then what?
And then shall the end come.
So the gospel must be preached into all these nations, and then shall the end come.
Bring it out, huh?
Read that, 11:14. Read that.
This is Revelations chapter 11, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly.
Right, so the first war is past. We know that as World War I. And the second war is past. It better yet is known as World War II. And it said, behold, the third one coming quickly. All hell is about to break loose. All destruction is coming to America.
Teach.
World War III is on its way. Babylon is going to fall. Somebody give me Zephaniah 1 and 14. Read that all the way through. So behold, the second war is past and the third one coming quickly. He said this gospel should be preached to all the nations, and then the end shall come. 1 and 14, read that.
This is Zephaniah chapter 1 and verse 14. The great day of the Lord is near.
It is what?
It is near.
Read.
It is near and hasteth greatly.
Hey, so the great day of the Lord, it is near and hasteth greatly. It means it's coming quickly.
Even the voice of the day of the Lord, the mighty man shall cry. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly.
Hey, the mighty man shall cry there bitterly. Read.
Verse 15. That day is a day of wrath.
A day of what?
A day of wrath.
Continue.
A day of trouble and distress. A day of wasteness and desolation. I'm reading from the top. This is Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 15. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess.
Day of darkness and gloominess. So that's, when Yahweh shall make his second coming, it's gonna be a day of darkness and gloominess. Who y'all call so-called Jesus, and he not coming to shake hands, give everybody hugs, kiss you on your cheek and tell you it's okay. He coming for destruction. And cause all types of hell on earth. Continue.
A day of clouds and thick darkness. Verse 16, a day of the trumpet and a alarm against the fenced cities.
Hey, when you hear that alarm go off, hey.
And against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men.
Upon what?
Upon men.
Hey, he said he's going to bring distress upon men. Continue.
That they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord. And their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung.
Hey, he said their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. Continue.
Verse 18, neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath.
Right, hey, your money, ain't none of that going to deliver you in the day of the Lord's wrath. He's not coming to play no games with nobody.
That's right.
He coming to set forth true judgment. Continue.
But the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy. For he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land.
Hey, so he gonna make a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. Hey, the Lord said, hey, suppose you gotta come to send peace. But he said he came to send a sword. The Lord came to, bring division. He's not about everybody being equal. Everybody being together. Hand joined in hand. Read that, Revelation 18, read that.
It's the book of Revelations, chapter 18, verse 1. And after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, the great is fallen.
What?
The great is fallen. Slakia, it's fallen, and has become the habitation of devils.
Hey, he said Babylon the great is fallen. Better yet known as America according to the Bible. You don't find the term America in the Bible, but we know the key name or the key word for America is Babylon. So he said what?
Behold, Babylon has fallen.
Babylon is what?
Babylon is fallen. God, and has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and the cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
Right, so all nations are drunk of the wine of America. You got the so-called Chinese man over here worshiping Christmas. You got the so-called Asian over here, hey, trying to put on a costume and celebrate Halloween.
Have drunk of her fornication, and kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
So all the kings of the earth, all these other nations have committed fornication with Babylon. They have dealt with her philosophies, her ways, all sorts of things and all those things of that nature. Continue.
And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard, that's all you want?
You got 16? 14, 16? Yeah, 14 and 6. 14 and 6.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 14 and verse 6. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach it to them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people.
Okay, so hey, we know this gospel is going to be preached to all nations. Then set an income. So he said he saw the people's person with the everlasting gospel being preached to all these nations.
That's right. Verse 7, saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come.
Hey, for the hour of his judgment is come. Continue.
And worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen.
What?
Babylon is fallen.
What?
Babylon is fallen.
America is falling. Continue.
Is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
She made all nations drunk with her wine, drunk with her philosophies, her ideologies, drunk with her religions.
That's right.
Who got Isaiah for me? My bad.
24 and 21.
24 and 21. Read that.
And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall punish the host of the high ones that are on high.
Hey, so it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord will punish the host of the high ones that are on high. America and all these other kings of the earth. Continue.
And the kings of the earth upon the earth, and they shall be gathered together as prisoners are gathered in the pit.
So when that day comes, y'all gonna be gathered together as prisoners, y'all gathered in the pit. Continue.
And shall be shut up in prison.
They shall be shut up in prison.
And after many days shall they be visited.
Shall they be visited? Continue.
Then the moon shall be confounded, and the sun ashamed, when the Lord of hosts shall reign in the Mount Zion, and in Jerusalem, and before his ancients gloriously.
Hey, so the moon gonna be confounded, and the sun shall be ashamed when the Lord of hosts reign in Mount Zion. He gonna put y'all light on, man. Who got somebody give me Jeremiah 13:16. Somebody give me Amos 9:11. Yeah, Amos 9:11. Somebody get that.
This the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured.
Hey, all that are devoured should be devoured. All you other nations that came together under one consent to devour the people of God.
Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, every one of them shall go into captivity.
Hey, y'all going into captivity. Thus saith the Lord. Somebody give me Isaiah real quick. 14:1. Read that. Read that again.
Slakia. And all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity.
Hey, so all you other nations going into captivity. The so-called white man, Arabian, Moabite, Chinese man, Japanese man. Hey, y'all going into slavery. Thus saith the Lord. Read that. Isaiah.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 14, from the top. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel.
He will yet choose Israel.
And set them in their land, in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them.
And the strangers, the other nations.
And they shall cleave to the house of Jacob, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them, and the land of the Lord for servants and handmaids.
For what?
For servants and handmaids.
For what?
For servants and handmaids.
Hey, we gonna possess y'all for servants and handmaids. Y'all ready for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you is. You gotta get ready for that. Continue.
And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were.
And we gonna take y'all captives, who captives we were. Y'all agree y'all had us in slavery, right?
Kind.
So right, what they say?
And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were.
Hey, so hey, y'all gonna be our captives. Y'all gonna be bound down to us. Y'all gonna be building up our laws. Who got Jeremiah? What I tell you again?
30 and 16.
All right.
And they shall rule over their oppressors.
We gonna rule over our oppressors.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 30, verse 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all they that prey upon thee shall be for a prey.
Shall be for a prey. Read that. Who got Amos 9? Read that.
It's the book of Amos, chapter 9, verse 11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacles of David, that it is fallen.
So in that day, he said he's gonna raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen. That's the 144,000 they elect.
And close up the branches of thereof. And I will rise up his reign, and I will build it in the day of old. Verse 12. And they may possess the remnant of Edom.
Hey, we're gonna possess the remnant of Edom, the so-called white man. Y'all gonna be slaves.
And of all the heathens which are called by my name, said the Lord.
Hey, and you other nations besides the white man, y'all gonna be slaves.
Teach.
How y'all like that?
Teach.
Look at him.
I got that Isaiah if you need it.
Read that. You got that?
Yeah,
St. Peter's?
Isaiah 61. Follow? Yeah. Hold on, what I tell you now? You got that.
Bring it up.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 5. Then thou shalt see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted unto thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee.
Right, so he said the abundance of the sea. Talking about these other nations, they should be converted unto thee. They're gonna be our slaves, they're gonna be ours. And he said that in the hours of the Gentiles. Jump to verse 10, Leach.
Isaiah 60 and 10. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls.
They said what?
Build up thy walls.
Hey, and the sons of the strangers, meaning you other nations, y'all gonna build up our walls. Just like we built up America.
And their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Hey, have you had mercy on us and rose us back up? Continue.
Verse 11. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually. They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. Verse 12. For the nations, for the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish.
Shall what?
Shall perish.
Shall what?
Shall perish.
Shall perish. So if y'all don't want to serve the Israelites, y'all gonna perish.
That's right. I got a quick. Nah, because the women say, why we not preaching the gospel? Give the gospel out of the book of Luke. Really quick. Luke chapter 4, 18.
I'll say Isaiah.
So we're going to answer your question real quick about the gospel. What is the gospel? You mind we ask?
The gospel is that God sent his son, Jesus Christ, because he paid for our sins when we could not. Nobody is good enough to pay for sin, but Jesus Christ did that. And so we put our trust in Jesus.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 4, verse 18. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. This is Luke chapter 4, verse 18. The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted.
Who the brokenhearted?
to preach deliverance to the captives and
Who the captives? She don't know.
and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord.
Hey, so that's what we doing. We preaching the acceptable year of the Lord. When he make his second coming, it's gonna be a day of vengeance. It's gonna be a day of separation, division, mayhem, whatever the case may be.
That's right.
And also, he said he came to preach deliverance to the captives. That's what we doing, preaching deliverance to the captives, the so-called blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics. We the ones that's in bondage to this day.
Teach up.
Everybody is held captive in sin. It doesn't, it's regardless of who you are. Everybody that's born into sin is captive to sin.
All right, what is sin?
Sin is a separation between us and God. The main
Somebody give me what sin is.
unbelief.
This damn heathen don't know shit.
Jesus
Read.
Christ is.
This is 1 John chapter 3 verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law.
That's
So
right.
sin is the transgression of the law. So what you just said was a lie. Is that what you used to?
Sin is a transgression of God's law.
All right, so who was given the law?
Moses gave the law
To who?
to the nation of Israel.
Right. So if the law was given to Israel, then how can the law be applied to everybody else? And how can everybody else be in sin?
Because the law became our tutor to show us that we could not achieve righteousness.
You just said the law was given to Israel.
Jesus Christ. Through Israel came the Messiah, Jesus Christ.
Psalms 147. Psalms 147.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 19. He showed his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He has not dealt so with any nation. And as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Lord.
They have not known them. So the commandments was only given to Israel. It wasn't given to everybody else. So
right.
technically, all the other nations, y'all cannot sin.
That's right.
So how come Jesus came and died for everybody, but y'all can't even sin?
Remember, Paul went to the Gentiles to preach.
Who are the
gospel.
Gentiles?
The Gentiles are all of us who are outside of the Jewish tribe, nation.
You know how to prove what you're saying? You can prove what you're saying?
Looking in the New Testament, when the sheep came down
We got
from
that,
for 3 days,
Ten
and Peter said that I will not touch that that's unclean. Then it was given to Peter
Hey, listen to this. Listen to this.
to touch the unclean.
This is the book of Matthew chapter 10 verse 5.
Bring it out.
These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying,
So these are 12 apostles who Yahweh sent forth. Jesus.
Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Not where?
Go not into the way of the Gentiles. Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Hey, he told him don't go in the way of the Gentiles. So how can he be going for the Gentiles?
Because when Jesus Christ came,
And into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
he came
Hey, so
to the
hey,
house of
he
Israel.
told them to go to the house of Israel. He didn't tell them to go to the Gentiles.
First he came to the house of the Israel, and they
So what you
drove
talking
him
about?
away.
So you saying the other nations were adopted back in? Were adopted in?
They were grafted in.
They were
to the
grafted
house.
in?
Yes.
So you saying they was adopted though, right?
Adopted, I said grafted.
It's the same thing.
See, they came to the house of Israel
Let me
first,
see.
but they did not take him. They killed him on the cross. And then he came to the Gentiles. That doesn't mean that the house of Israel is excluded. He died for all.
It's the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 5. Having predestinated us unto the adoption of the children by Yahweh Mashiach to himself, according to the good pleasure of his will.
Right, so the adoption, it pertains to the Israelites. It was already predestinated unto them to receive it. So, hey, can't no other nation be, grafted back in, whatever you said. The adoption pertains to the Israelites. Those are Israelite foreigners who did not know that they were Israel.
That's a question, though. This is out of curiosity. Are you the only people?
Hey, see if she can scoot up. Hey,
Hey,
scoot up. See if she can scoot up.
God, is that what you're saying?
Come close, I can't hear you.
Are you the only people who are
Come
going
closer.
to heaven? Are you the only people going to heaven? Is that what you're saying? The tribe of Israel, the only ones
Yeah,
going to
Israel.
heaven?
All the ones that can make it to the kingdom. The kingdom is for them.
So you guys
You got it already?
So that
Read that,
includes
read that.
you.
This is the book of Revelations, chapter 21 from the top. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea.
Hey, so we finna see who heaven is for. Read.
I'll jump down to verse 12. And had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates.
They had what?
And had 12 gates.
So no, it ain't one gate, but it's 12 gates. Continue.
And at the gates 12 angels, and the names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel.
So at these gates, the name on them was the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. So if you're not a part of the 12 tribes of Israel, you cannot get into the kingdom of heaven.
So you're telling me the Gentiles are not going to heaven. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, these other nations are not going to make it.
Okay.
They're going to be slaves.
Okay.
Isaiah 14.
You don't believe that Jesus Christ came to die for all of mankind,
No.
past, present, and future,
58,
correct?
53.
That's
No.
pretty exclusive, is it?
Right.
Okay, all right.
Wait, we
Thank
get
y'all
Acts
very
10,
much. Can you
five
please
and
tell me one more thing?
Hey,
and
just the
I'll
book
leave you?
Ephesians chapter 2 verse 11. Wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, who are called uncircumcision by that which is called circumcision in the flesh made by hands.
The circumcision is that of the heart, not
Nah.
of the flesh. But let me ask you something
Corinthians.
before I leave. I'm leaving.
Huh?
What is the name of your church?
She said
What's the name
Oh,
of
okay,
it?
go ahead.
All right,
What's the name of your church? Y'all don't want to tell me? What?
This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 7 verse 19. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing, but the keeping of the commandments of God.
Read it again, she's not listening.
Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing, but the keeping of commandments of God.
That's
That's all it is keeping the commandments. So who are the commandments given to?
Okay, we break. If
okay.
you break the commandment, we break all of it. Jesus is the only one who can keep all of the law. And when we put our trust in him,
Go ahead.
he's the one that did that.
I'm gonna show you something real quick. I'm gonna show you something.
Okay.
This is the book of Job, chapter 1, verse 1. There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect. He was
what?
Perfect.
Perfect. What?
He was perfect.
Job was perfect. So what you talking about?
Okay, Job was a godly man before the Lord. But remember,
But you
Job
said, but you
that-
said, hey, you
Job
said Jesus
said
was the only
that-
one.
Remember, Job said, whatever I fear comes upon me. That word for perfection, you'll need to research in the original language to get the sense of what that means.
You're doing too much
So
listening.
it's
She don't know what she's talking
important
about.
to
What you got for
study
me?
that.
Read that.
Remember,
This is the book of Romans chapter 3 verse 31. Do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. Yea, we establish the law.
We established the law.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 5, verse 29. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God rather than men. Verse 30. The God of our fathers raised up Jesus, whom ye slew and hanged on a tree. Him hath God exalted with his right hand to be a prince and a savior, for to give repentance to Israel and forgiveness of sins.
Right. Jesus only came for the Israelites. To give them forgiveness of sins and repentance.
you and I
Read
believe
that.
that Jesus first came to his house first. But
This is Romans chapter 11, verse 26. And so all Israel shall be saved. As it is written, there shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. From Jacob.
Ungodliness from Jacob. So, hey, who y'all call Jesus Christ? He only came for the Israelites according to the Bible.
That's right.
He only came for his people. Read Matthew 1:21. Why not? Whoever got it. Whoever quick on the sword.
Shaky over here. Hold on.
You got it? I got it. This is the book of Matthew chapter 1 verse 21. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahweh, for he shall save his people from their sins.
He should save his people from their sins. These other nations don't actually know what's going on in the Bible. It wasn't given to them for them to understand. Give me Daniel 12 and 10. Somebody give me Matthew 13 and 11. These other nations don't understand or know what's going on. They ain't nothing but future slaves.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 53, verse 8. It says, he was taken from prison and judgment. So like, he was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generation? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgress of my people, he was stricken. And his people were the children of Israel. Right? Just like it said about, he shall save his people from their sins.
Go ahead. Give me Romans 9 and 13. Hey, when the light turn green, don't move. Read that though. We're going to just cast the law down right now. What the Lord say, who will stand up for me against the workers of iniquity.
That's right. Read that.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 9, verse 13. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. But Esau have I hated.
Hey, so the Lord hated Esau. He don't love everybody.
That's right.
Esau's a so-called white man according to the Bible. He don't love you so-called devils. Not even so-called devils. Y'all are the devil.
God.
Physically made manifest before us. Somebody give me Revelation 2 and 9.
I'm still at that Matthew 12 and 10 if you still see Revelation. I'm at that Matthew 13 and 11.
You get Revelation.
Bring it out.
It's the book of Revelation, chapter 2 and verse 9. Lucky. I know thy works and tribulations and poverty, but thou art rich. And I know the blasphemy of them that say they are Jews and are not.
Right, so he said he know the blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not. Continue.
And I know the blasphemy which say they are Jews, but are not, but are the synagogues of Satan.
But are the synagogue of Satan. Read that. Right, so give me, what you have for me, Daniel? Read that. Okay, these other nations don't actually understand this book. It's not for them.
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 12, verse 10. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly. And none of the wicked shall understand.
What?
And none of the wicked shall understand.
And none of the wicked shall understand. They don't understand this book. She think Paul actually went to the Gentiles. When Paul wasn't doing nothing but going to Israelites.
That's right.
Who was cut off from being a nation. Who didn't know who they were. Read that for me.
This is the book of John, chapter 10 and verse 15. As the Father knoweth me, even so know I the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. And the other sheep I have which are not is this fold.
So right, he said, I lay down my life for the sheep. Who are the sheep? The Israelites. And he said, also for other sheep that I have that are now this fold. Because we had Israelites that were scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Read.
Them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice. And them, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd.
And there should be one fold and one shepherd. Somebody get Revelation, not Revelation, but Romans 1 and 7. Why not? Since they always want to run a Paul. You got it? 1 and 7. Somebody.
This is the book of Romans, chapter 1 and verse 7. To all that be in Rome, beloved of God, called to be saints.
Called to be what?
Called to be saints.
So he said to all that be in Rome, beloved of God, called to be saints. Who are the saints? Read that.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 148 and 14. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel.
Right, so the children of Israel, they are the saints according to the Bible.
Right.
Hey, so y'all can't run the Paul letters no more. Paul was writing to the saints, the children of Israel. He wasn't dealing with the other nations.
Right.
Who got, you read John 10? Give me John 11. And I believe verse 50, or 49. Sorry, 49.
It's the book of John, chapter 11, verse 49. And one of them named, how you say that? Cephas, being the high priest, that same year said unto them, ye know nothing at all, nor consider that is what expedient for us, that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not.
That the whole nation perish not. Continue.
And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Yahushua should die for that nation, and not for that nation only, but that also he should gather together and the one children of God that were scattered abroad. That were scattered abroad.
That were scattered abroad. Because the Israelites were scattered throughout all the four corners of the earth. Was that it?
This is Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 17. Israel is a scattered sheep. The lions have driven him away. First the king of Assyria have devoured him.
First the king of Assyria, when the northern kingdom was taken captive by the Assyrians. Read.
First the king of Assyria have devoured him, and the last, this Nebuchadnezzar king of Babylon have broken his bones.
And the last Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon have broken his bones. When Judah, the northern and the southern kingdom was taken away captive. Right. Somebody give me Tobit 13:3, why not? We know Tobit was in captivity also.
I got you.
Read that.
It's the book of Tobit, chapter 13, verse 3. Confess him before the Gentiles, ye children of Israel, for he hath scattered us among them. He hath scattered us among them.
Hey, so the Israelites were scattered among the Gentiles. Paul wasn't going to the Gentiles. He was going to the Israelites scattered amongst them.
That's right.
So, hey, that's already done for. Y'all can't keep running to Paul. Paul not going to save y'all. Paul can't graft y'all back in. Y'all was never a part of this.
Right. That's right. Hey, what scripture talks about Jacob is a lot of his inheritance?
Yo, give me Psalms 94 and 14, somebody.
That's another one. I'm right here. You said 94 and 14?
Read that.
This is Psalms, chapter 94, verse 14. For the Lord will not cast off his people,
That's right.
neither will he forsake his inheritance.
The Lord would never forsake his inheritance. He would not cast off his people, being the people of Israel. Read that.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 9. For the Lord's portion is his people. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. Israel. Give me Jeremiah 31:37.
Bring it out.
31:37. Read that.
It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 31, and verse 37. Salakia. Where you at? Thus saith the Lord in heaven above the Salakia. Thus saith the Lord in heaven above can be measured, and the foundation of the earth search out beneath.
So he said, if heaven can be measured, and the foundations beneath can be searched out. Continue.
I will also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, said the Lord.
Hey, we already know that ain't happened. Y'all can't search out the heaven. Y'all can't even make it up there. Hey, so the Lord people, they still here. He haven't cast them off. He's still dealing with us. He ain't going to no other nation. Hey, he not messing with nobody. What you got? Okay, cool. Let me see. Go back to Psalms 9:17. Psalms 9:17. Somebody give me Ecclesiastes 10:7. What you got? Psalms? Read that.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 9 and verse 17. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget Yahweh.
So, hey, the wicked shall be turned into hell. You other nations, y'all going into slavery. Y'all going to the bottom of the bottom now. The road gonna have to be reversed.
That's right.
True judgment is coming to America. Read that. Who got that?
This is Ecclesiastes chapter 10, verse 7. I have seen servants upon horses.
He said, I have seen servants upon horses.
Right.
Hey, our future slaves, they the ones that in these high places right now. They're the ones that's running America. They're the ones that's got all this power to do whatever they want to do. He said, I have seen servants upon horses, because y'all are future slaves according to the Bible.
That's right.
Don't say the Lord, y'all going into captivity. But he have seen y'all upon horses. Read.
I have seen servants upon horses, and princes walking as servants upon the earth.
Seeing princes walking as servants upon the earth. Because we are the princes of the Most High. We're a nation of kings and priests.
Right.
You're not dealing with these other nations. Somebody give me what you got? Read that again. Whoever tell you get.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 9, verse 17. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God.
So the wicked shall be turned to hell. All you other nations going into slavery. Thus saith the Lord. Somebody give me Isaiah 61. Start at 4. Somebody give me Zephaniah 3 and 20. Read.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, verse 4. And they shall build the old waste. They shall rise up the former desolations.
Hey, so right, we already read that these other nations, when we take them and round them up, they're going to be building up our walls. So what they going to do? Read that again from the top.
And they shall build up the old waste. They shall raise up the former desolation.
They're going to build up the old waste and raise up the former desolation.
And they shall repair the waste cities, the desolations of many generations.
Right, y'all gonna build up ours. Y'all gonna build up our kingdom, just like we built up America. Continue.
And strangers shall stand and feed your flocks.
Hey, they gonna stand and feed our flocks. Hey, my ass ain't ate all day. What you doing?
And the sons of the alien shall be your plowmen and your vine dressers. But ye shall be named the priests of the Lord. Men shall call you the ministers of our God. You shall eat of the riches of the Gentiles, and their glory shall be your slakia. And their glory shall ye boast yourselves.
Right, we're gonna eat up the riches of the Gentiles, just like y'all eat up the riches of us. Y'all living off of us, so now we finna live off y'all.
You want me to keep going up? For your shame, you shall have double.
Hey, he said for our shame, we should have double. Our kingdom gonna be glorious. It ain't gonna be nothing like these other kingdoms, or the kingdoms of the past. Our kingdom gonna be forever. Read.
And for confusion, they shall rejoice in their portion.
We're gonna rejoice in our portion. Continue.
Therefore, in their land, they shall possess the double. Everlasting joy shall be unto them. For I, the Lord, love judgment. I hate robbery for burnt offering. And I will direct their work in truth. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them.
They're going to make an everlasting covenant with the house of Israel. What verse you at?
8.
Keep going.
And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles.
Hey, and our seed going to be known among the Gentiles. Y'all going to know who the Israelites are. Y'all going to know who the chosen people is. Continue.
And their offspring among the people. And all that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which the Lord hath blessed.
Which the Lord have blessed, which the Lord have chosen. They gonna know, these other nations gonna know in these last days that the Lord is not dealing with everybody. That he has a chosen people according to the Bible. The so-called blacks, Native Americans, and Hispanics. Y'all are God's chosen people. Y'all need to wake up and return back to your nationality. Thus saith the Lord, and keep these commandments, or else die in America. Read.
I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. Slakia, I will greatly rejoice in the Lord. My soul shall be joyful in my God. For he hath clothed me with the garments of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decketh with himself ornaments.
Right, so he's going to cover us with salvation. That's what we're going to get. Zephaniah 3 and 20, read that.
It's the book of Zephaniah, chapter 3 and verse 20.
We got Zephaniah. Right, so you other nations going into slavery. You said Zephaniah what, bro? 3 and 20.
This is Zephaniah chapter 3 verse 20. At that time will I bring you again, even the time that I gathered